Hello, welcome to the Maya Toolbelt. This is Michael. In this video, I thought we'd do something fun and look at the Create Lightning effect that comes with Maya. These effects can be found in the FX menu set from this pull-down menu and the Effects menu. And here we have Create Lightning, and here are the options for that. There are several things in here that we're going to be going over. One thing to note about this is a kind of a pre-packaged effect. It's not necessarily the most awesome quality lightning ever, but it gives you something that's relatively quick if you need a simple lightning effect. Before we do anything with those options though, let's go to Effects and click on Create. You see here this Create section. So let's click on the lightning button. And you'll notice when we do that, nothing happens. So the way that lightning works is that you first have to have objects in your scene that the lightning travels between. So you can do this several different ways. If you wanted to do, for example, a kind of a Jacob's ladder effect, where you have these big sci-fi spheres with lightning going between them, you can create the spheres and have the lightning passing between them like that. Or you could create some invisible locators that the lightning passes between, that the locators themselves will not actually render, just the lightning will. Let's do that. Let's go to Create, and let's go down here to Locator. So the locator, like I said, is just a dummy object. It has no rendering to it. There's nothing will be seen when you render this scene. But we need at least two. So I'm going to hit Control D to duplicate the locator. So I have another locator over here. And I'm going to hide the grid for now. So we have these two locators. So I'm going to select them both. The direction the lightning goes depends greatly on the order of the selections. So whichever I select first will be where the lightning starts. Hold Shift and select the second one, that's where the lightning goes. So if we go to Effects now, Lightning, let's just go into the options and say Edit, Reset Settings. So we have a couple of things here. First we have the lightning name, so you can give it a name if you want to. If you leave this blank, Maya will just give it a default lightning name. And here we have two major sections of the options here. There's lightning creation controls, and then there's lightning attribute controls. The two biggest differences between these sets of settings is that the creation controls cannot be changed after we've made the lightning. In order to change this, you'd have to delete the lightning and make a new one. Okay, so this is relatively important before you start creating lightning, to know what these settings are and what they do. So first of all, here we have group lightning with a checkbox, on or off. And what this simply means is that this will take all the lightning that you make and group it. So you'll have a group node. If I open the outliner, you'll have a group node in the outliner with your lightnings all tucked neatly inside it. Without grouping it, then they'll just all be listed here with the locators that I have and the cameras and stuff. So if you need to organize your scene and you want all your lightnings neatly contained within a group, you can check this box to do that. Here we have creation options with our settings of all, in order, or from first. This setting here is referring to having multiple objects with lightning passing between them. Right now we only have the two objects, so literally there's not going to be any real difference with any of these settings that we choose, because right now we're going to make lightning from point A to point B. If we had 4 or 5 locators, then this will be more important. So we're going to come back to this after we create this first effect, and we're going to have a second effect with multiple locators, more than 2, and this will come into play when we do that. After that, here is curve segments, and by default it's 20. So what the lightning itself is made of, it's essentially made of a soft body curve that has dynamics applied to it to create a lightning effect. So the more curved segments you have, the higher density curve you're making, the more lightning jagged shapes you can make with it. If you have fewer curved segments, then the lightning will be not quite as zigzaggy, I guess, if you want to make up a word for that. It'll be more subtle, more smooth, not as much movement in the shape. So we'll leave that at the default setting here too. And then below that here is lightning attribute controls. And these attributes can be changed after you make the lightning. So I'm just going to go to Edit, Reset Settings to have all of our default settings and just use that for now. But in this section, you see we have thickness, the max spread, lightning start, lightning end, and then lightning glow intensity. So those settings can all be changed after the fact. These up here cannot. So just keep that in mind. So let's go ahead and check the group lightnings box so you can see what that looks like. And I'm going to make sure I have both locators selected and hit create. All right, that looks pretty cool. One thing that this effects menu, these options here, they all come kind of pre-packaged. When you hit that button, Maya does a lot of different things to actually create the effect, and one of those is to create this curve, to extrude this tube shape along that curve, and to give it this jagged motion. There's also a light here in the scene, a point light. Let's actually look over here in the outliner and see everything. So we have our lightning 1 group that we made because we had that box checked. So if I expand that group, we have lots of different controls in here. We have a from control 1 to control 1. We have control geometries group here. It also has things inside it. I mean, there's lots of different things here. We have joints, we have a skeletal chain, all involved with this. And this is all kind of done behind the scenes. You don't really have to know too much about it if you don't want to. It's just all being done as a preset. Also, one thing to keep in mind is that the lightning setup comes with its own set of locators. So don't be too confused. These two locators over here are the ones that we started with, and these two locators came with the lightning effect. And we're going to get into what they do right now. So you can change the shape of the lightning really easily. If this first locator is the locator I selected as the location where the lightning is coming from, and you can move that locator after. You can see what happens. This is all in real time, just moving this locator around. You can change the path of the lightning that you've made. It's kind of neat. Same over here. This is the locator that the lightning is going to. Again, we can change that path. We also have the locators that came with the lightning setup, these two locators here, that can change the angle of the lightning from the object the lightning is coming from, or the angle of the lightning as it goes into the object it's going to. So you can kind of have this lightning kind of curve around in interesting dynamic ways, like this, for example, by controlling these two locators that, again, control that angle of the lightning. It's pretty neat. This right here is a selection handle. If you click and drag over it, you'll literally select the lightning effect. So if I click and drag over this and hit Control A to open the attribute editor, we're in the lightning 1 node here. If I scroll down here to extra attributes, you can see all kinds of stuff here. Lightning group object, lightning from position, all these things can't be changed. Okay, this is just all the different objects that are involved in this effect. But down here though, we do have settings that we can mess with. This is all under the extra attributes area of the lightning 1 node. Okay, so we have thickness, max spread, lightning start, lightning end, and glow intensity. Those are the settings that we could find in the original options. We also have a couple extra settings here too, light intensity, not just glow, and then color RGB, so we can change the color of the lightning as well. So we have lots of things in here to talk about. So let's look at thickness. I think thickness is relatively straightforward. Is how thick this lightning bolt is. If I click and drag this, you can see what happens. It literally changes the shape of the lightning bolt to be thicker or not, or thinner. So that's pretty cool. I'll take it back to the default value of 1. Our max spread, this involves like how erratic this curve can get. Like if I, let's actually bring up the animation control so I can hit play and we can see the lightning take effect. Let's go to Windows, UI Elements, Options. I'm going to bring up the time slider. So over here I can hit the play button and you can see how the lightning generates and it, how staticky and all these erratic motions. So let me stop that. And again, select that lightning bolt handle in the middle. So the max spread, if I increase this, you can see that we increased how much the lightning can, or how much motion this lightning bolt can have. So if I have this max spread increased like this, and then I play the animation, you can see it really goes nuts. So the max spread is how much room, how much wiggle room, literally, the lightning bolt has to move around in. Probably don't want the spread to be quite that much. I'll go back to 1. All right, then we have lightning start and lightning end. Now what both of these are referring to is the positioning of the lightning in relation to where it starts and where it ends. Okay, so lightning start is at 0, you'll notice, and lightning end is at 1. So these are 0 to 1 values. And the defaults for the start are 0, and the default for end is 1. So if I increase the start up, you can see what happens is that that lightning starting position changes. And if I go all the way up to 1, it literally goes all the way to the end of the lightning bolt. If I go all the way back to the beginning. Same, the reverse is true with lightning end. I can have this start all the way back at the start. So if you wanted to get that lightning strike effect, what you would need to do is animate this lightning start or lightning end and have it animate and flowing through this thing and hitting the mark, and then you could animate it retracting, or if you wanted to animate the start going in like this, so as if the lightning is passing between the 2 points like that. So that's what these 2 settings are for, lightning start and lightning end. So unless you want that Jacob's ladder effect where the lightning bolt is just always there, this is what you would need to use these controls here to get that lightning strike effect. Next we have our glow intensity and light intensity. So the effect comes with a light right here. This is point light. And you can see the color of it by default is this kind of light blue. You can see how the intensity is actually driven. You see that purple color? The intensity is driven by an expression. Okay, so here's the expression that's actually in here. I just double-clicked this, or more like triple-clicked it, copied it, and pasted it. So this is the expression involved with the light's intensity. So we have glow intensity equals lightning, glow intensity, these are our float values. Then we have our glow intensity equals intensity times end minus start, the absolute value, end minus start. Point light 1 intensity equals glow intensity here. All right, so what this is literally meaning is that the intensity of the light is directly affected by the start and end position of the lightning, because if that start and end positions are set in such a way that the lightning is gone, for example, let me go back to that. If we have lightning end all the way down, the intensity of the light changes, see here, to 0, because the lightning is gone, essentially. That's what that means. Let me select the lightning again and take that end back up and select the light again. Now my intensity is back up to 1. So that start and end values of the lightning bolt affect the intensity of the light. Does that make sense? I think it does. I mean, I need to learn more about mail scripting, but that's essentially what this is saying. Let me close that. Yeah, don't save that. So the glow intensity right now is 0.5 and the light intensity is 2. If we increase this light intensity up, you can see here the intensity of the light changes also. Now it's not going to be exactly the same. You see here the intensity here is 20.330. If I select the lightning bolt again and look at the intensity I have, my intensity here is 40.659. That's because in that expression, the math involved in using the absolute positions of the start and end affect that end value. So you're not going to get a one-to-one with your light intensity setting to actually how intense the light is, okay? But it definitely does increase, though, when you increase that light intensity. Let me take that back down to, I think it was actually 2. That was the default value. So you can increase this to make it higher or lower. Then there's glow intensity. If I select the lightning bolt surface, and let's find the lightning shader, here we go. If I expand the special effects section of the shader, you see here glow intensity, and again it's being driven by the lightning effect itself. So the glow intensity of the material, if I go back to the lightning settings here, is directly affected by the glow intensity here in the lightning node. So if I increase the glow intensity here, for example, and then go back to the lightning objects shader, you see here the glow intensity has also increased. So here it's 26.37, whatever. And if I go back to the lightning, it is the same value. So that is a one-to-one relationship there, glow intensity. And I'm going to render this in a minute so you can see the differences in these also. I just want to kind of go through all these different settings. I think these are pretty straightforward, but they're pretty interesting in my opinion. And then we have color RGB, so we can change the color of the lightning. Right now we have this kind of blue color, like that. And you see here the color of this light. If I click it, it's being driven by the RGB values here. So if I change this color R all the way up, for example, and click on the light, you see the color is this white. It's because all RGB have all been set to 1. So the color is white. If I take R and G down to 0, you can see it here. Also, the color becomes essentially blue because red and green are both 0. So B, RGB, blue is 1, so it's just completely blue. So you can change the color here of the lightning bolt, and you can see the results we can get there. You can look at it right here, updating. So if you want to have like this kind of orangey red lightning bolt, you can. And the light will change that color, and also the shader of the lightning itself will change based on this value. So all these expressions and everything have been set up already to have all these connections made. All right, so that was all the basic settings that can be changed after the fact, after you've made the lightning bolt. So let's go ahead and let's render this and see what it looks like. In order to see it really well, I'm going to actually let's make a plane. So that we can kind of see that light affecting the ground. And let's go ahead and make a couple objects just kind of sitting around in the scene too, just to see what happens with the different colors and stuff and intensities that we get. Alright, so I'm going to render this. I hit Control A to close my attribute editor for now, and I'll close my outliner for now so we get more screen space to look at here. I'll go to View, Camera Settings, and I'm going to say Resolution Gate. So here I'm going to see exactly what my render view is going to capture. Just kind of look at it like this. And I'm going to go to my render view window here. And I'm just going to use the Maya software renderer instead of the Arnold renderer right now, just to something quick. And then I'm going to go to test resolution. Instead of making this big, huge 1,000 pixel image just for the sake of this demo, I'm going to do something a bit smaller for 50% settings and render. All right, there's our lightning bolt in all its glory. So like I said, it's not like the most perfect lightning effect, but it is something that's relatively quick and easy to make to get something like this, in your scene. Again, it has a very orange value right now. Let's go back to the lightning settings here. So it's like that handle in the middle. There we go. So again, we can change the color if we want to. Let's put it back to where it was kind of this nice blue color. So it's a bit more natural looking for lightning anyway. Okay, so let's render that again. All right, so I'm going to keep that image and click this little button here. Looks like a mountain with a little sun next to it. Click that button to keep the image, and then I'm going to change. Let's go back to, say, glow intensity. If a glow intensity is 0.5 by default, let's make it 1. So we've increased it by 100%. So we go back and forth between the two images here. You can see the difference in that glow intensity. Let's make that go back to 0.5 now and change the light intensity now to, right now it's 2. Let's make it 1. So you can see the difference between those two things. So there's glow intensity, that's the glow of the shader then the light intensity is the light being cast by the lightning effect. Okay, and again, it's based on that start and end also. So if we change this, let's say the lightning has almost gone away. If I click this again, you can see that light has dimmed considerably because the lightning is a lot smaller. So if we were to animate this, you can see that light getting dimmer as the lightning bolt passes through this space. So that's what that does. Okay, so let's make a new scene now, and we're going to go over those other options that we passed up. So I'm going to take my resolution gate down and go to File, New Scene, and we don't need to save this. All right, so we got a fresh new scene here. Hit Control A to close my attribute editor for now. And again, I'll create some locators. Duplicate this one, and now I'm going to make more than two. So you can have lightning go between more than two objects with this effect. So Control D, duplicate it again, and I'll make like a square pattern here. Okay, so again, remember the order matters. So I'm going to select this one first, shift select this one, and then that one. And then go to Effects, Lightning, Options. Okay, so now we have creation options, all, in order, or from first. Let me uncheck the group lightning so again you can see the difference in how it's set up. So with all selected, we hit create. So literally everything I had selected has a lightning bolt going between it to another one. So this locator down here has 3 bolts going to all 3 other locators, and the same is true for the rest of them. So literally we have all objects having lightning passing between each other object. Okay, that's what the all means. So let me undo that. Okay. So again, let's select them in the right order, or any order really, but some order. And go back to the options. So creation options, that was all. So now let's say in order. So again, I selected them in that specific order and hit create. So here you see the lightning passing between the locators in the order that I selected them. Now you might notice that there's no lightning going from here, this point to here. And if you wanted something like that, like a square pattern, I did look into that, and the only way to get that effect, you would have to literally do it again. Like select these 2 locators, go back to effects and create lightning, and have another lightning effect passing between those 2 if you wanted that perimeter effect. So just so you know, undo that now. Go back to the options. So that was in order. So here is from first. And remember, this locator over here was the one we selected first. So with from first selected, hit create. So here you can see what happens is that from the first locator, a lightning bolt goes to each other locator I had selected. So you can have that kind of effect where one object is emitting lightning to other objects. So those settings cannot be changed after you've made the lightning. You'd have to delete the lightning effect, like I've been doing here, and change these creation options. All right, the last thing we didn't really look at here was curve segments. Let me actually delete or undo these lightning bolts. And I'm just going to go back between 2, just to keep it simple. So I have my 2 locators. But then we have our curve segments. So by default, it's 20. If I take this up to, say, 100, just to have a big number, and then create. So you can see immediately that difference, that there's a lot more zigzaggy, jagged, erratic motion happening. If I hit play, you can really see it going to town with all these different erratic shapes through here. And that's by increasing those curved segments up. Vice versa, if I undo that and say curved segments of, say, 5, something super low, hit create, you can definitely see there the difference. There's not a whole lot of available motion because the curve doesn't have that many segments to use. But that is a different kind of look to it though. All right, what else can I tell you about? So the only other thing I can think of to really go over with the create lightning effect, if I select the lightning by again mousing over this selection handle, over here in the channel box, we do have an option for visibility. So you can literally turn it off like that. Visibility becomes 0. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. All right, so that's the create lightning effect that can be found again on the effects menu, lightning. I think these effects are pretty cool. I do think, like I said at the beginning, that they're not like the end all be all of effects. You can probably get better effects, especially a lightning bolt. Like, it's not quite as realistic as I might would have liked with all the different branching. When you see photos of lightning, how it's not just a single stream. It's like multiple like fractaling branches coming off the main shape of the lightning bolt. You're not getting that kind of thing here. But even so, it's a cool effect. Hope you enjoyed the video and learned a little bit about it and how it works. And thanks again for watching. I'll talk to you later.